Turkey in the oven.
These people are here to take your blood, I think. Guinea pigs in the room.
Jury or Judy? Elsa?
Yep, perfect.
I now have 6 o'clock in the evening. Before we start the meeting, I'm going to ask Dr. Marco Underwood to lead us in a word of prayer.
To those who would agree, let's pray. Father God, we thank you for the privilege of being here this evening among friends and associates and colleagues, peers, to conduct some of the business of our college. We thank you for those folks who serve in various capacities. We thank you for those who are here who are guests and who are perhaps here for the first time. We thank you for the privilege of working here and getting to associate with students and faculty and friends and to learn and to grow as our students learn and grow. We ask you to be with the determinations that occur this evening. Let us, our hearts and our minds be open, and we look forward to your will being done in all things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Call the meeting to order. First item of business on the agenda is to consider the minutes of the October 17th board meeting. Do I hear any corrections or additions? No corrections or additions indicated. The financial statement as of October 31st, 24. Are there any additions or corrections? I'll entertain a motion to have a consent agenda for those 2 items.
I so move.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to consent agenda for the 2 items. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the list is the recognition of our guests. Welcome. And this is a tremendous audience we have tonight. Thank you all for coming. Present, we have Jessica Sandoval, Camila Galvan, Jasmine Torres, Benina Olivares, Angela Rubio, Janelle Faz, Patty Hernandez, Steve Martinez, Judy Estrada, Cruz Mata, Crystal Montes, Bella Rubio, Emma Martinez, Terry Doobie, Laura Contreras, Rosenberg Reza III, Lonnie Compton Betty, Frank Luna, Jorge R. Fernandez, Brenda Hoffman, Randa Shell, Johnny Field, Aida Escamilla, Irma Garcia, Audrey Haynes, Aubrey Haynes, Wade Carpenter, Abraham Contreras, Rosie Casson, Sandy Garza, Blanca Martinez, Juanita Santos, Elisa Lopez, Vanessa Verigan, Bonnie McCannon, April Ruman, Armando Modrigan, Bethany Flores, Isabel Alvarez, Lisa Ermis, Irene Barrera, Develsa Martinez, Annie Rodriguez, Bonnie Herndon, Chuck Garabedian, Mark Underwood, Derek Sandoval. Welcome. Have I missed anybody?
Sorry,
Did you get him?
I tried.
Didn't get it.
No.
Welcome. Thank you all for coming. Next item on our agenda is some reports.
We have an audience to patron.
What?
We have an audience to patron.
Oh, okay. Is any audience participation?
Mr. Rosenberg Risa.
Lisa? Skipped him.
Good evening. My name is Rosenberg Teresa III. I am here as one of the candidates for the Board of Directors. I am currently serving on the Board of Directors right now. I would like to continue to try, like I always do, help the school districts, the city, the students, everyone. That's my goal. I have gone to Nueces Canyon, Sabinal, Canipa, you name it, I've been there. My understanding, I've been the only person that they have seen in Canyon in 15 years. I've been the only person they've seen in Sabinal from the board. So I do, like I tell them, I'm here to serve you. What help do you need? I'm there. You know, I gave them my phone numbers, everything. I want to do what's best for the students and also for the school districts and also for the cities. So I respectfully ask for your votes and thank you very much.
Board of Directors for the city?
Yeah, for the Uvalde County, the UCAT, Uvalde County Appraisal District.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, Tony.
Next, we have reports, the commencement schedule.
Dejándolo de lado.
Oh, Steve.
Good evening, President Gonzalez, board members, and our patrons. My name is Steve Martinez, and I'm the registrar for Southwest Texas College. And I'm here to present some information on our upcoming commencement ceremony for the Eagle Pass campus. The commencement is scheduled at the International Center for Trade, which is located behind our SWTX campus in Eagle Pass. Date is December 17th at 7 p.m. The facility that we're going to use, since this is our inaugural ceremony for this location and in December, has an approximate capacity of 1,200. We are anticipating 164 graduates to be participating in our ceremony, and we will have faculty and staff that are also going to be on hand with our administration to assist and participate with all of our graduates. Therefore, because of the capacity and also in the name of safety and security, we will be issuing approximately 6 tickets apiece to each of our graduates, just so we can adhere to the capacity for the facility. We will be opening the doors to the public approximately at 5 p.m. Starting time is at 7 p.m. So for our guests here for the board and cabinet members, we are just suggesting an arrival time probably about 6 p.m. just so that we can get everyone situated that's going to be part of the procession for our commencement ceremony. There is a grand ballroom in the facility that will be the main entry for our general public. Now, the facility does have several points of entry and exit. So once again, for safety and security, we will be using the primary front door entrance, which is going to have metal detector doors that we're going to be asking all of our general public and graduates to go through. And then we will have one entry point on the west side of the facility for our cabinet members and board of trustees to use, which will have an officer as well on that location. And we'll be escorting our members over to the East Room, which is the official name for the holding facility. Our graduates will be escorted to the West Room, which is a larger side room, which is going to have a setup for, photo opportunities as they're waiting for the ceremony to get started. Upon conclusion of the ceremony, we will, with the assistance of our law enforcement team, open up all of the exits so that way we have more of a free and efficient flow of people exiting our facility at that time. We anticipate the ceremony to probably be roughly about an hour and a half, but that's just what we're estimating just based on the flow of traffic that we have. We are going to be working with the City of Eagle Pass to help with the Highway 277 there to upon the exit, just similar to their football games that they have there to assist with traffic flow at that light, just so we again for safety and security of all of our guests that are going to be attending. Parking passes will be distributed to our board members and administration for their parking designated area. And as always, we always like to accommodate our guests that may have disabilities. So we always add additional handicap parking for our patrons. And so we'll share that information along with a map that's going to have a visual area for our guests to be aware of as they pull up to the location there. And we'll have those areas marked off for them. And that's in addition to the already marked handicap spots in the parking lot area. The semester for our fall ends in December 13th. So that means on Tuesday, December 17th, our campus parking lots will be vacant, which is going to add extra parking for all of our patrons that are going to be there. So the facility does have its primary parking areas, but our campus, since it's literally within about 20 feet away from the facility, is also going to be utilized for parking. At this time, I can entertain any general questions that we may have from any of our patrons or our president or board members.
Just some additional information. We're coordinating common transportation for board, faculty, and staff. So we'll give you additional details on that. Nita will contact you with. We're trying to see if there's enough to warrant a charter bus and just have everybody ride together in a charter bus. But we'll get those details ironed out here in the next couple of days and let y'all know.
Thank you for your time.
No further questions. Thank you for that report. We appreciate it. Next, we have a report from the Patient Care Technician Program.
Mr. Luna?
Good evening, Board President, President Gonzalez, board members, and the community. My name is Frank Luna. I'm the coordinator of the Patient Care Technician Program, and I have a little presentation for you that I'd like to introduce our program to you. And we'll start out. We have several instructors in our program. We have 11 full-time instructors, some adjunct instructors, and some part-time instructors. I do have a few full-time instructors here. If I can get you guys to stand up, please. I have Ms. Ana Coronado. She's one of our midday instructors here in the Uvalde campus. I have Romeo Fernandez. He is our dual credit instructor in Eagle Pass and our traditional college class in Del Rio. And then we have Ms. Isabel Alvarez. She is our morning instructor here in the Uvalde campus. I have Diana Martinez. She is our instructor at Carrizo Springs High School. I have Ms. Irene Barrera. She is our full-time instructor over there in Crystal City High School. And we have Ms. Patricia Hernandez in the back there. She is our instructor for Pearsall High School. Thank you. All right. So our program is offered both to the traditional college student and to the dual credit sites. To our traditional college students, it is a 1-year, 2-semester program. They start out, usually we offer classes that start in the fall and also that start in the spring. The pathway that they would start out with would be those bottom classes in the right corner with medical terminology. Then they'd move on to law and ethics. And then from there, we offer 5 certifications in our program. The first certification is the Certified Nurse Aide program, which consists of them learning all the basic nursing skills. It does consist of them, when they go test for certification, to take a 60-question multiple choice exam, and also a skills portion of the test. So they have to pass both portions of that exam to become a certified nurse aide. And then that is the first semester of the program. And then that would be the first year in the dual credit side for the junior high, the junior students. They would complete that in the 1 year, 2 semester. And then when they come back in the following semester, then they're going to get the programs that fall under the National Health Career Association, which would be the EKG technician, which requires them to have 10 live EKGs that they perform on each other and volunteers before they are able to test for certification. And then they move on to the phlebotomy portion of the program, which also requires them to have 30 venipunctures and 10 finger sticks before they are eligible to test for certification. And then the next certification would be the clinical medical assistant. That's our longer portion, longer class. It takes about 7 weeks in the traditional program. And then they also test for that certification. Now, if the student has completed and passed all those 4 prior certifications, then they're eligible to test for the patient care technician assistant, which is the ultimate certification. All right. Our growth for the program. Currently, we have 451 students, and that's combined with the traditional student and dual credit students. We have 70 traditional students, 381 students in the dual credit side, and they are all at those programs listed there. Our biggest classes that we have are in Carrizo Springs, Crystal City, and Del Rio. And I'm excited to announce that we are going to be expanding this spring 2025 into the Eagle Pass campus at the Jack Chittum Center. Our strategic plan objective, our SPI. So we'd like to increase the EKG certification pass rate by 5%. And we're going to implement that by analyzing the past performance data to identify weaknesses and opportunities for improvement, such as looking at questions, content areas with low pass rates. And then we're going to go back and evaluate that by tracking the EKG exam scores after each exam, calculate the pass rate percentages, and compare them to previous exams to view incremental improvements. A little look at our success rates. The Texas HHSC, which has to do with the nurse aid portion of the program, we have had a 71% pass rate in the last year. With our National Health Career Association, which includes those 4 certifications there, EKG, phlebotomy, medical assistant, and patient care technician, we've gradually increased our pass rates throughout the years. And I'm proud to say the last 2 years have been our most successful. 2 years ago, we were 8% above the national average. And last year, we were 10% above the national average. And I'm open to the floor questions that you may have.
You said you had the most students in Carrizo Springs. How many students does she have?
They have 45 there and in Crystal City.
And you have one instructor there
Yes, ma'am.
to 45 students?
Well, there's 3 different cohorts,
Okay.
junior class and senior class.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
What has historically been the enrollment? For this year, you have 451. What does it usually average out to?
It's run from anywhere from 350 to 400 usually. So with that dual credit, and then we have approximately 70 to 80 in the traditional class, Traditional
350
student.
to 400 on the average over the years. So
Yes,
we're
sir.
above average this year.
Yes, sir.
And question on the strategic plan objective, why is it only focused on EKGs? Why not everything else?
Well, I mean, general focus is going to be over all of them, but we just selected that one to pinpoint on. But we're wanting improve in all of them, no matter what.
What percentage of your students are in high school still?
What percentage? That would be the 300 so students. So
About 82. About 82%.
75, 80%?
Yes, sir.
82.
What about job placement? How successful have we been in job placement? Is there any stats on that?
I don't have any stats for you today, sir, on that, but it's something that we're going to start implementing.
So we can get
Yes, sir.
kind of backtrack and see where all these kids are going
Yes,
and
just
stuff?
by word of mouth, keeping contact with the students, we know that they've been getting hired in Dimmitt County Hospital, Uvalde Hospital, local clinics. So we do know they're getting hired and are successful there at their position.
You said only 71% pass. What happens to those other 30%?
They're
they-
eligible to retest if they want to. They can come back and retest. We do encourage them to come back and retest. We offer more training, review, practice, and they're more than welcome to come back and test. So for that certain, there's several of them that do come back and test.
But that 71% is only for the nurse's aid portion, right?
Yes, sir. Just the nurse aid portion.
Is there any success rates or statistics on what the overall success rate is to finish up the course? How
For the
many
whole
pass?
pro, I don't have that for you. sir.
No.
No, sir.
What are the clinical sites where they go and do their training?
Where do they go?
In Carrizo Springs,
In-
Crystal City? Are they coming here?
Yes, they're coming here to Uvalde. Yes, ma'am. There is a facility in Carrizo, but they don't want any students under 18.
Oh,
So they have to be bused over here. We also use Hondo Nursing Home, Medina Valley Nursing Home in Castroville. And we're going to possibly be using the Pearsall Nursing Home as well, and Divine.
But some of these sites, don't have place. You know, I work on the prior and stuff, and they stay there. They do all their training there. They usually don't go anywhere to the hospitals or anything.
They don't go to the hospitals. They do come here to Uvalde for their clinical rotations for the nurse aid program.
Oh, do they?
Yes, sir.
Well, good.
If you don't mind, what is the typical question that in the EKG certification? Just to get an idea.
EKG question regarding the questions are going to be, as an EKG technician, it's not so much, if you go to the hospital and you see all these waveforms, that's actually for the doctor, the PA, the nurse practitioner but for EKG technician is more about pre-procedure, during procedure, post-procedure, placement of the electrodes, knowing to note when something is abnormal so that they can, assess the patient really quick, and if something's wrong,
Alert the patient.
yes, sir.
And how many years have we been doing the patient care technician program?
I believe it's 6 years already.
We've been here for almost 8 years together. When we got hired on, we were just a la carte. I think in our second year is when we formed the PCT into what it is
Yeah.
today.
So 7 or 6 years. Yes.
Think you guys are doing a good job?
I'm pretty proud of what we have accomplished. We've done really well.
Thank you, Frank.
Good.
Thank you for that
Thank y'all.
very informative report. We appreciate that so much.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have a business office.
Ms. Garcia?
Good evening, President Gonzalez, board members, and community. My name is Irma Garcia, and I'm here to represent the business office along with my team members. Our SPI for the business office is to increase customer service to an 80% increase by May 31st. We offer at the business office student history, refunds, payment plans, dorm information, and smart card. Again, my name is Irma Garcia. I am the business office director. I oversee 5 amazing, wonderful employees. I assist with scholarships. I process banking information. I manage credit cards, student history, and billing. I will turn over the slides to my, oh, if I can get this going, to my employees so they can introduce themselves. Oh, yes, sorry.
You said you want to reduce the customer satisfaction by 10% to 80%?
Well, we use that as a baseline just to start off and then increase it to an 80%.
But do you have sort of any analysis that says the satisfaction rate is 10%? Or did y'all?
Yeah, it's an arbitrary number that we use to start off because we had never done it before. So we just used a baseline. Yeah.
That's really easy to know.
Okay, good evening. My name is Juanita Santos, and I'm considered the head cashier, smart card administrator. And those duties consist of refunds, bank mobile, dorm information, smart card IDs, and student history.
Next in line is Christina Morin. She is not able to be here today. She's our accounts receivable clerk. She proceeds payment plans, refunds, dual credit, and student history.
Good evening. My name is Rosa Casson. I joined the team about 3 months ago. I'm happy to say that. And I've been training to do the accounts payable, cashier, and student history. And that's what my goal is, to see the invoices coming in, the verification of the invoices, routing those invoices. And at this time, I'm learning on the AR side. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Blanca Martinez, and I am your accounts payable specialist. I handle all of your purchasing cards and travel cards.
The next department is purchasing. Dana Garza is not able to attend today, so I'll be speaking on her behalf. She is our purchasing agent. She is certified Texas contract developer manager. She also assists in scholarships for all 4 campuses. And the next department is printing center.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Contreras. Oops, that's okay. And I'm the printing center technician. Involves copying, printing, binding, lamination, maintains machines and inventory supplies, in addition to process USPS mail for the campuses. Thank you.
Next department is human resources payroll.
Good evening. My name is Terry Doobie, and I'm the Human Resources Director. And I've been here at the college for 1 year, and I'm very happy to be here. I love the culture here. I love the positive environment. I love you guys. Our SPI for HR and payroll is to communicate payroll process and benefits effectively. And together as a team, we will enhance our onboarding process and training by May 31st. And in our team is Abraham Contreras, Student Rights and Responsibilities Administrator.
I am Vanessa Verjan. I'm the payroll officer, and in my team, I have Crystal Montes and she is our payroll clerk, and Melissa Lopez, who is our payroll/TRS specialist.
And of course, our duties are recruitment, running background checks, onboarding and training to new staff members as they come in. We also started a newsletter to provide information to the staff of any updates on benefits, or anything, that's coming on payroll or anything that staff needs to be aware of. And also, we report on monthly, quarterly, and annual reports, including salary surveys or anything that's legally required. And that's it for us. Any questions? Thank you.
This department is the controller and food services.
At least I'm going to adjust my mic. Golly. Good evening. I think a lot of you know me, but for those that don't, my name is Aubrey Haynes, and I'm the controller. I've been with SWT. I want to put a J in there. SWTX for about 15 years now, full time. Some of you might remember I taught economics for 13 and a half years or so. And now for the last little over a year, I've been in the controller position. Have some big shoes to fill. Backfilling for Miss Ermis there. And I'm so blessed to have her teach me the ropes and answer about 300 questions a day, probably. So think I've learned about 7 years worth of information in the last year. So as far as the duties of the controller, I think y'all see a lot of what I do in each monthly board packet, because you get those nice, wonderful sets of numbers and investment reports and the P&L and balance sheets and all that. Right now, we're working on our annual financial report, so we've been very deep in the audit, and y'all will get to hear about that, I think, on December 12th when Mr. Eid comes with that. We do a lot of financial reporting and just a lot of accounting, and come June, budgets and budgets and budgets, right? And lots of reports with synoptics and other things that we have to do. And that's, I think, kind of sums up what I do. Lots of accounting. Takes a lot of time. All right, I'll move on to the food services. There we go. We start off with our food services SPY, and the SPY for food services this year was to increase the student's sense of connection to the college. And in doing that, they're hosting a weekly event that's called Tabletop Tuesdays, where they invite students to come in the evening and bring a board game or whatever kind of game they like to play. I think they get a couple different tables going on. Dungeons and Dragons seems to be a popular game that the students like, and I think some card games, and I don't know what other games they got going, but trying to really increase that sense of connection of the students to the college, and just to get them to keep from coming in and grabbing their meal and heading straight back to the dorm at night. So kind of hang out in the cafeteria for a little bit, get to know the staff and the folks there. And that kind of leads into the introductions. And we have two of our food service folks in the back here, Mr. Steve Garner, who is our food services manager, and then our Dungeons and Dragons master, our logistics facilitator, Mr. Leo Aviles, is here. And then we also have 4 other full-timers, which is Miss Diana Flores, Miss Eloina, and Miss Lou. And there's the picture of all of them. And I believe Steve has been here 22 years, if I remember correctly, and Miss Eloisa Flores has been here 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. So, and our last slide, I believe, On the right is a picture of all of the business office staff from the Grilling with the President and all of our cute green shirts. And then on the left is our two new additions, Mr. Contreras and Rosa. And as you can see, me and Abraham are kind of outnumbered, but it's a good thing.
That concludes our presentation. If you have any questions. Thank you.
Wednesday afternoon lunch. So,
Dr. Watkins, we need to ask for homemade tortillas.
Homemade tortillas request. Put in a good word for homemade tortillas.
where do you get them?
To make them here.
Oh, you don't make them here? Who makes them?
They don't.
HEB makes it.
And why not?
That's what I say all the time, Dr.
Mr. Garner, why don't we make tortillas?
There'd be a lot more people in that picture.
Well, the food is excellent. I really must commend you.
I sure don't know how.
Yes, next on our agenda, what do we have? President's report?
Yes, sir. I'll begin by bragging on our rodeo team.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sporting this buckle.
Ah.
So this is our rodeo team. The last rodeo of the fall season was at Sam Houston State. And Coach Allman came by the following Monday or Tuesday and said, I got to share something with you. You know, and this is how he talks. And he says, normally it takes 500 points as a team to win a college rodeo for either the men's team or women's team. And he said, our boys knocked it out of the park. 750 points.
Oh.
And they won the college rodeo. I had told them at the beginning of the semester because, you know, in the past years, we've been able to send one or two to the rodeo finals in Casper, Wyoming. And I've sent Derek to travel with the team over there. And at the beginning of the semester, I said, y'all make it to the college finals, I will go. Never been, but I will go. So they're trying very hard to get there. They won the buckle. They met as a team, and they said, we want to present it to you as the president. So it sits on my desk. But I told them, I said, I will wear it on the night of the board meeting, and I will brag on you guys. So I honored it. I wore it all day. Tomorrow, it'll be back on my desk. And it's hard to eat those tortillas with such a big belt buckle. Some of you know what I mean. Yeah, so very proud of what our rodeo team has accomplished. He did say that if we end up first or second in the region, the whole team gets to travel and qualify for the national rodeo. So that's our goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joey, you out there? You heard me say it. President's report, tech expansion. So we're still cleaning up or finishing up, winding up phase one, which is the new warehouse location. The power line and truck driving are up and running. We're still trying to finalize the last of the electrical, plumbing and fencing. Obviously, we did all that in-house, so we pulled our employees off of that project onto something other, and then now we're sending them back. It is, I would say, functioning 90% as a warehouse right now. All of our inventory is there. It's still being delivered at our old warehouse, and we're transporting it back and forth. But we hope by the end of December, we'll be fully functional at our new site as far as the warehouse. The other two are up and running. 1B, which is the Eagle Pass Annex. You know, we're blessed here where we're not in the city, so the permitting is not as strenuous. It's not the case in Eagle Pass, so we're having to deal with a lot of back and forth with the permit office there in Eagle Pass, but it's moving along, not as fast as we like, but it's moving. I think everything's ready for electrical connections other than to make that connection, the last connection. And we're still pending some parking lot pavings. But the goal is, again, to get that site up and ready here in December is to have a good January start date. That's going to be the home for our power line, our truck driving, and our law enforcement academy. So we're confident January we'll be ready to go and start the semester fresh there. On phase 2, which is the second year of tech expansion, we're still working with architects on cost estimations and staying within our $4 million target there. So we hope to bring those an estimated budget to the board at the December board meeting. Last week, moving down to state appropriations, last week we had a meeting with the interim commissioner of Texas Higher Ed that was sharing with us the latest funding estimates for the next biennium, which is the fiscal years ending in 26-27. Based on their figures, their numbers, their formulas, we should see a $2.4 million increase in state appropriations over the next biennium. This biennium, we saw a $5 million increase from our funding before, so that's a good sign. And as I was sharing with Cabinet earlier this week, that doesn't even factor in the new programs that we're onboarding, like the diesel tech here, the growth in the PCT, the surgery tech that's kicking off in January, and the other programs that are scheduled to come in once we complete phase 2, both in Eagle Pass and Del Rio. So that number should be north of $2.4 million. The other thing that we looked at, and every year we've allocated $500,000 to deferred maintenance to address some of these items that have been held together with Band-Aids and duct tape and baling wire, throughout the years. And looking at the proposal to refinance the $4 million in existing bond debt to generate some savings, I had a discussion with our financial advisor, financial planner, and said, what is our capacity to issue more debt? And he got back to me yesterday. And what I was thinking is, $500,000 in 2017 doesn't get us as much today because of inflation. Each year, in the budget, we allocate $500,000 to address deferred maintenance. That's covering less and less and less as we go through the years. And if we could bring issue an additional bond to address all these deferred maintenance items at today's dollars, it could probably yield us additional savings in the future because we're spending that money in today's dollars. And so I was looking for the delta between the debt service on the new money versus the $500,000 that we include in every budget for deferred maintenance. And a $10 million issue at 25 years is a debt service of $771,000, which is, 500 of it can be absorbed with the expenditures that we have right now, leaving a delta of $271,000. That delta could, we could absorb that in our budget as it is today. We start the year with $1 million contingency. We're funding $1 million of our own money for the tech expansion. So, just off the bat, there's $2 million there. There's an additional, $1.2 million coming in each year of the next biennium. So I think the capacity is there. He ran the numbers at a very conservative 5% interest rate, which I think we could probably get something better. But I wanted to have that conversation with the board and see what your thoughts, what the appetite is to issue additional debt. Some of these deferred maintenance items are, renovating the last wing in Hubbard Hall. We renovated 3. There's 1 that's still pending. Adding elevators to the library, elevators to the admin building. There's some ventilation issues with Garner Science. We addressed half of the labs. We have to address the other half. There's ventilation issues at Garner Hall. There's some restroom ADA issues. There's a air conditioning in the gym that we've been postponing. Upgrades to the softball field, putting the lights back on the field there. Potential expansion to the WIT building, adding an additional lab there for a skills lab. So those are all some of these projects that we try to accomplish $500,000 at a time. So at this point, just really asking for guidance from the board if this is something that we should pursue. The other thing that kind of ticked off in my brain is if we could do it at the same time, it would probably save us financial planner costs and bond counsel costs in the preparation. We would still refinance the $4 million that are eligible, that are callable, and that would generate anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000 annually in savings. But we could possibly consolidate some of that legal costs with a single issue. And just entertain any questions or comments. What's the perspective on the board from pursuing this further? If it's something that you would like to entertain, we'll bring David back. There'd be additional resolutions that we have to pass. But I didn't want to go that far until I got a sense of where the board was with this.
Do you know that's really loud, of the $10 million issuance, how much of that would be able to cover that?
Yeah, I think based on the list that we have of deferred maintenance, about $7 million would cover deferred maintenance items. Expansion to the WIT building, probably $1.5 million. So it puts us up into the 9 range, and then the extra $1 million help upgrade equipment in our tech programs, new, more modern equipment so the students could practice on. So that's kind of the ballpark, very ballpark numbers. Obviously, we would go through the deferred maintenance list. It does include some wish list items like air conditioning the gym. That does not have to be on there, but it could be on there. So we would bring that list back to the board for, input and say, okay, yes, this, let's keep that on your wish list, but let's focus on something else. We can certainly continue working and refining that list and start bringing some of those details to the board for your input and your consideration.
Yeah, I would be open, provided that, it sounds like we can absorb the debt probably. I'd be open to it, but I'd just like to have maybe some more input before we decide how the funds are going to be allocated.
Absolutely.
I guess when you do the bond issuance, you can make it very broadly written to give us the flexibility to spend it.
Correct.
How we want to spend it.
Right.
So I'm open to it as long as we get some input, get to provide input on where the money should be used.
Absolutely. And we can certainly have a report item. I think we can at least have a report item in December that lists them and some of the estimated costs, and you can start mulling those over and see what you think we ought to do and what hold off on that. Obviously it would take board authorization to spend those money.
I think that's a great idea and a good foresight on your part and the administration's part. I only have one request to maybe add deferred maintenance, the cafeteria, the kitchen.
It's on there.
It's on there.
It's on there. Yeah, like I said, the list is a page long. So we'll bring that list.
Over that.
I just kind of hit some of the big targets here, but yes, the dorm cafeteria remodel is on there.
Good.
The cafeteria as it is laid out today, the service line anyway, is not doesn't really lend itself to the new mode, the kind of the a la carte, the kind of grill, snack bar. I mean, it doesn't function that way. Ideally, And this is me speaking, our cafeteria guys are probably gonna get upset. But ideally, we would have one line, and not have to have a grill and a serving line. It's all one area, kind of like a food court type flow that, better utilizes our resources, our human capital, and so forth. But yes, we'll bring you that list so you can start looking at some of those items and what are some of the costs associated with each of those projects.
Sounds like a good idea.
We're continually developing new programs that we haven't even started addressing yet.
That is correct.
We're going to be looking at other programs in the near future. Seems like it's constantly changing. They're adding new programs and you never drop the old ones. So it's continuing.
Yeah, so adding, in our legislative request, appropriations request, we requested an additional $5 million from the state of Texas for continuing the tech expansion for this next biennium. We won't know, how that shakes out until probably May when the budget is final. But, we cannot continue to add programs forever. There's a point in time where you lose economies of scale and you get yourself too diluted. You have too many programs and you have not enough students in each of the programs. So there's a balance where either we close some programs and refocus into additional ones, but we can't continue just adding new programs. There's a point in time where we say, okay, this is our capacity. If we're going to add something else needs to come off because there's just not enough students to sustain 40 tech programs. So that's, obviously we're not there yet, but that, is something that we have to keep in mind as we.
That happened with our auto body.
Auto body is a good example.
Enrollment went down, so.
Right. Yeah. Good question. And then below that, you have, just some upcoming dates. Christmas at the college, December the 3rd, it's a Tuesday. Try to make it. It's going to be a blast, right, Wade?
Left.
Bring your coat because it may snow that night. I don't know. We have our high school invitational basketball tournament on December the 5th through the 7th. We have a team traveling to Austin December 7th through the 10th for the SACS annual conference. We normally don't send a big team, but since it's in Austin and we have our review next year, we went ahead and send a little bit more to that meeting. And then, of course, we have our December meeting, our Christmas holidays, and, our next board meeting is on January the 16th. Take it back. We have a board meeting in December, 12/12, and that will be our audit. I don't know that we have much on that board meeting. But anyway, that's our upcoming dates. If y'all have any questions.
Sounds like you got your boat loaded.
It's loaded.
Any further questions? Next on our agenda is the consider an act on our strategic plan.
Yes, Dr. Garza or Randa, sorry, Dr. Shell.
Good evening. I'm Randa Shell. I'm the Chief of Staff, and this is Sandra Zuniga Garza. She's the Director of Strategic Innovation and Research. Thank you for having us tonight. We're going to be referring to item 7 in your board packet. Let's see if I can make this go. Yeah. Southwest Texas College's strategic plan serves as the framework for conducting a systematic review of institutional goals and outcomes, which affirms that they are aligned with, consistently reflect our mission and our beliefs. The strategic plan guides our decision-making and resource allocation to achieve our long-term objectives. The President's Cabinet bears primary responsibility for overseeing the strategic planning cycle. However, all college divisions, departments, units, even students and community representatives are engaged in activities directed at helping the college achieve its strategic objectives. And of course, the board reviews and approves each part of this process. Yes, okay. As is illustrated in this slide, we conducted a mid-plan review that was presented to you last meeting, in your October meeting, of the 21 to 26 strategic plan. This process, as part of the established planning cycle, included a comprehensive evaluation of the mission statement, the beliefs and ways of being, and an in-depth assessment of the progress toward achieving our strategic goals and objectives, as they're outlined in the plan.
Hang on, Ren.
Yes.
So the handout you have before you is not the same as you're seeing. So this is a PowerPoint that is kind of addressing that first 2 paragraphs on page 3. That's kind of where we're at in the handouts.
Thank you.
And you can see the process illustrated on this slide before you. Let's see if I can get it to move. Additionally, this time, we thought it necessary and important to align our strategic objectives, goals and objectives with the elements of the Texas Community College Funding Model, better known as HB8. And you can see here 3 examples of how we aligned. These are not the only 3, but these are 3 examples of how we aligned our strategic goals and objectives with HB8. One of those is, well, let's go back. Some of the HB8 focus areas include enhancing student success and workforce alignment, expanding access through dual credit and high demand fields, and strengthening institutional innovation and fiscal responsibility. And you can see those 3 examples there. So on the left side, in HB8, it's provided that we should increase or work toward increasing workforce ready graduates. And strategic plan objective, actually goal 3, is to increase the technical employment rate. Second example, in HB8, it wants us to expand dual credit opportunities. Objective 2.1 in our strategic plan is to strengthen dual credit pathways. A third example is in HB8, they ask us to foster innovation. And in our strategic plan under goal 4, we speak to developing generative AI frameworks, which is hopefully an innovation that we will achieve. Okay. Let's see, I lost my place. I'm sorry, y'all. These combined efforts culminated in the development of the 25-30 strategic plan, which is in your packet. And we're going to present that a little further. Dr. Garza is going to present that a little further for your approval tonight. And I do want to note that specific metrics and targets for each objective that's listed in that strategic plan will be presented in the January meeting. This is just the overall goals and objectives, but we'll have numbers to go along with those targets, to go along with those ready for you in the January meeting. So I'm going to pass it to Dr. Garza, who will give you a brief overview of the strategic goals and objectives that are listed in your plan.
Okay.
So before you begin, Dr. Garza, we're on the page that says goal 1, if you're following along. Goal 1, start enroll.
So as Dr. Shaw mentioned, I'm going to go through some of the data sources that we're going to be tapping into. You know, you've heard me say before, we always want to have some sort of pulse check to see how we're doing, where we started from with baselines, and then a target that we're focusing on. So these are just some of the sources we'll be really looking at. So we're going to be looking for goal 1 under start and enroll, where we're going to be looking at enrollment of students from dual credit, both those that were in dual credit in high school, those that were not in dual credit in high school. How are we recruiting them to the college? Those students that completed AEL with us, how are they transitioning into the college? So we'll be looking at those data sources. Along with some of the priorities of House Bill 8, we have included some pulse checks for high demand fields and fields of study. So we'll be looking at those numbers as well. We'll also be looking, as was mentioned earlier, about how important it is for students to feel connected, to feel part of the college community. We're going to be looking at their participation rates in student programs and student-led initiatives and in different clubs. We're also going to be looking very closely at how their attitudes in terms of their response rates on the graduation survey that we give every year. So we're really going to be looking for that connection piece. For goal 2, under persist and succeed, we'll be looking at students from dual credit, all the pre-collegiate students, dual credit, early college, high school, early college academy, P-Tech, how they're doing in terms of persisting, achieving the 15 credits. And then we'll move on to the actual persistence rates of fall to spring, fall to fall. We'll look at academic programs. We'll look at technical programs, drilling even further down to high demand and non-high demand fields. For goal 3, for completion and to complete and ascend, before you might have seen reference to completion rates. Now there was a big discussion about what about progress to completion? How are students progressing through their pathways? So progress to completion will be looked at for academic full-time and technical and basic and advanced as well. We'll still look at completion rates for students that completed on time, those that are completing at 150%, and those that are completing at 200%. We'll look at transfer rates of students, those that are core complete and graduating and transferring on to four-year institutions. And we'll look at employment rates. I know that was brought up earlier. Technical employment rates will be something that we'll keep a pulse check on. Goal 4 is not as quantitative in terms of data checks, but we still have them listed for our own continuous improvement and self-monitoring. They include things like development of new student pathways, making sure that the technical footprint is there and clear, continually updating the program pathways and the structure for job placements, community partnerships related to industry service and how we recruit our students is something else that we'll keep close tabs on. And then innovation and development, structures to foster efficiency, revenue, enrollment, and the use of generative. And lastly, just as Dr. Shaw mentioned, our next steps, we have a continuing commitment to excellence. We are continuing to have conversations about House Bill 8 and how it affects how we operationalize all our practices. We are excited about the growth and wanting to sustain that through our practices. And then our next steps are just continuing to visit and revisit these objectives, setting those baseline numbers that will come before you in January, that will have the actual baseline and the targets. And then just strengthening our relationships, staying true to our mission that isn't quite listed verbatim at the bottom, but still very much aligned with our vision. That's all we have for you.
So I have a question, and I'm the newest on the board, so I'm just trying to understand all this. So I understand you create a strategic plan to set the objectives for the institution and identify objective metrics to see if we're succeeding. So how do you use this? So are you take these metrics and then look at the data and then basically continually grade how we're doing and then provide us input or reports?
That's a pretty good summary. So the strategic plan initiatives that you heard reported earlier, those are the ways that each unit, each department moves toward these objectives in the strategic plan. So that's what they're doing every day in their jobs for a year. Those are set at a year to drive the objectives.
Do you guys, and I assume you guys are looking at the data, and then do you go to the departments and say, hey, look, what's going on here? We're not meeting this, or we're getting this feedback, and then and that's how you critically analyze whether the department's working or not working or being successful. Okay.
So just to expand on it, for example, on the goal 1, start enroll, the objective that we've identified as labeled as 1-1 is to increase student enrollment by 500 students by the year 2030, which is within 5 years. Below that are some of the different specific objectives that will get us to that 500 students. And the increase hashtag number of students, those are the objective data that we will bring back to the board in January. So in order for us to get to 500 students by 2030, we need to increase the non-dual credit who come to SWTX after high school graduation. That number may need to be 120, and the next one may be 80. And, you know, to get us, what's our target to get us to that 500? So then that first bullet, our marketing and recruiting folks will look at that target, and then they will develop their SPI, their strategic plan initiative, to support that, to move that bar where it needs to go. And it's not just one department. It may be 5 or 6 departments that are creating strategic plan initiatives to move that bar.
And how do y'all determine which departments are needed to move the?
Some of them are obvious. Some of them are less obvious, but generally during the planning session, the departments must choose a strategic plan objective that they're going to target. You know, so self-select different objectives, and then they'll review and see. We have nobody going after, you know, this objective, so then we'll have some counseling in that area.
There's quite a bit of communication back and forth as those strategic plan initiatives are fleshed out.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry for the question. I'm new to this.
No, that's perfect. And so last month, when we brought you the mid-plan review, we went through this exercise in 21, and same thing. We brought objectives, goals to the board, and then we brought specific objectives once the board approved those that had numbers in it, targets, and then we're like, okay, let's start moving the bar. Some of them we excelled, some of them we moved a little bit, some of them we didn't move at all. We evaluate that. That's what we reported last month. The overall plan, here's how we did. And generally with the strategic plan, my perspective is 1 year is too short to measure. So we do a mid-plan review, 2.5, 3 years into the 5-year plan to really get a sense of how we're moving. We do monitor the SPIs annually, but the whole plan, we just take it, we develop a 5-year plan with the intent at year 3, we're going to look at where we're at, revise what we need to revise, and plan out for another 5 years. Our intent is never to wait 5 years to see what we're doing. So we set a 5-year plan with a 3-year measurement, adjust, and then go forward. And that's kind of where we're at this point.
Because I guess it's hard to, how do you measure whether we as an institution are doing a good job or not? And that's really what you're trying to get at, and how to get better. Okay, thank you.
So we're going to measure it if we're doing good by these goals as one of the measures.
Do you think an increase of 500 students is an average goal, or is that pretty attainable? Or is that going to be a challenge?
I think it could be a challenge, but that's why we looked at the different subgroups, subsets of students, so that we can focus on of potential students, so that we can focus on one of the, and you'll see it there, students who didn't ever take any dual credit with us when they were in high school. I think there's a metric out there that like 50% of area high school students don't go to college. So there's a area high school graduates don't go to college. So there's a big group of people that have not gotten dual credit with us, or maybe they did, but then they're not coming to college after high school graduation. I think it's attainable, but I think it could prove to be a challenge as well.
We could lose one high school, let's say we lost Medina Valley as dual credit, that would be a loss of 500 students.
Okay.
So it could be very easy to attain. It could be very difficult to attain, especially if, something like that should occur. So it's a combination that, unfortunately, higher ed is not as easy as it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. There's a
Very competitive.
lot of moving parts. When dual credit started, the rule was that you had your service area. Our service area is 11 counties. And the state basically said back then, nobody can come into your service area. That's yours. You got to serve it. And if Alamo wanted to come and offer something in our area, they wouldn't allow it. If they did it, then we would get credit for all the hours that they taught. So nobody did it. Halfway through those 10 years, the legislature in their wisdom said, you know what, we need open competition. So now, as far as dual credit is concerned, there is no service area restriction. It's a free-for-all. I could teach, a dual credit high school outside of Dallas, no problem. Legally.
Yeah.
Statutorily, there's no problem. So it's very dynamic compared to what it used to be, 10, 15 years ago. And we just have to work through those little nuances and really focus on those relationships. That's key with the districts is the relationships. Given you're going to have internal politics at the district that are beyond our control, and we just got to navigate those as best we can. So unless there's a goal here that really gives you heartburn, or there's a goal here that you think should be a goal and it's not listed, let us know. If you approve this, then that I will turn the team loose to start crunching those objectives for each of the specific goals that we have listed.
Well, I have a goal that I would like to see on here, but it may not be just about numbers. I think that over the years, the higher education has turned to be all about, putting kids through so they can attain a good job and buy all the good things that they want to buy. But I would like to see a goal that speaks to how do we make our kids, better humans? Just a thought. If there's any programs that, I do know that we're having more mental health on the campus, but just how do we get them to understand that higher education is not just about attaining material things?
I think that could possibly be covered in 1, 2,
Or 4.
or 4 under innovation. Yep.
Great.
So is there a system where you can contact these students that doesn't pursue their double credit?
Yes.
hours?
Yes. So we can access the data from all the schools and request that information. Yeah. So as Dr. Garza was saying, some of these, they're less quantitative and more qualitative. So that would be probably a little bit more qualitative in a sense of, one of my first questions is where are we getting the data to measure, that goal? It doesn't mean that we don't do activities, but the measurement of that becomes a little bit of a challenge. We can get there through focus groups and kind of, different activities and kind of get a sense of what some of those items are. I think that's a great goal. We've got several grant initiatives that are right in line with that perspective. So
Our Title V grant, actually, Vita Resource Centers is right along those lines, taking care of students' mental health and their overall well-being. That's the focus of that grant. It's in its second year. That's where food pantries come in, referrals to mental health professionals, all of that kind of stuff.
I don't want to speak too far ahead, but that might align well with our QEP topic.
That's what I'm saying.
Going forward.
Yes.
I saw that on the agenda.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
So we'll add that under item 4. Any other suggestions or comments from the board? I appreciate that addition. I think it's very worthwhile.
Next item on our,
We need a action item, a motion.
I so move.
A second.
motion to consider an act on a strategic plan, and moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No opposition, motion carried. Consider an act on mental health AAS new program.
Ms. Ruman will present that to us.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to propose a new program. My name is April Ruman. I'm the Dean of Applied Sciences and Liberal Arts, and this is just a really exciting time to be at the college, and I'll echo Terry Doobie. I really do enjoy being here, and serving our community is one of our goals, right? And listening to you, Maria Elena, thinking about how do we educate people in being good citizens, good humans. That is part of what we are here for. And so just hearing that that's an important goal of the board is really great to hear. So I appreciate that. The new program that we're looking at is a mental health program. It's an Associate of Applied Science in Mental Health. And we've had a really neat journey developing this program. We've been able to work with MHDD, many community partners, and different stakeholders, some LPCs in town, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, Crystal. And we've just had a lot of thought into bringing a program to the college that will allow us to give our students and our population an opportunity to grow in their understanding of the mental health world, the challenges that we face on an everyday basis, the challenges that, our students, our peers, our community, how do we look at that? How do we better serve individuals who are struggling with mental health? And so as you see, we have a purpose that we've defined for the mental health program. And ideally, we're looking to prepare students to engage with clients, right? A client-centered care approach, looking at their ability to respond to crises, their ability to understanding the complexities of mental health and addiction, advocates for clients' rights, developing communication skills, good citizen skills, and just overall being competent professionals who can work collaboratively with healthcare teams to ensure individuals are receiving respectful, appropriate, and supportive care. Along with our overall purpose, we've developed some outcomes for the program. So program outcomes are broad ideas that we center our classroom experiences, our learning outcomes, our courses, our focus on. And you'll see that we've developed 9 of those. We are looking at mastery in the following. Mental health support skills. Students will be able to assist in providing mental health services in various settings, offering direct support to individuals with mental health challenges. Another program goal. Understanding substance use disorders. Students will understand the causes and effects of substance use disorders and be prepared to provide basic support for individuals who are struggling with addiction. Effective communication, crisis intervention, applied psychology skills, client advocacy, cultural competency, ethical decision-making, and professionalism and team collaboration. And again, these are overall goals that we will look at, and we balance our program, classroom experiences, our field experiences, our learning outcomes, our curriculum with these in mind. What awards we're looking for, you'll see next. We're looking to offer the a stackable program with our awards. So the first that you see is our mental health basic level 1 certificate. So what is learned in the basic level 1 will stack into the advanced level 1, which will stack into the Associate of Applied Science. And what is unique, I think, and very exciting about this opportunity is we've also been allowed or able to embed in some occupational skills awards opportunities for our students, which makes them more marketable. So while they're on their journey to receive an Associate of Applied Science and Mental Health, they're able to gain credentials of value. They're able to gain marketable skills and possibly obtain employment if they so choose while they're earning their degree. Another exciting opportunity we've had is to work on the non-credit side with this program. So we currently have in our fall offerings, we have a mental health technician program running right now. We will graduate our first cohort in December. Those students are going to be able to immediately go to work as mental health advocates, as technicians, if they so choose, or again, we've built the program to stack. They might enroll, if we're able to bring the Associate of Applied Science to the college, might enroll right into that. We've worked with MHDD, and they have actually sponsored our first cohort of students. And as you know, we're going to be opening a facility in Uvalde in maybe about a year or so that will be a crisis center for the entire service area. And we are actively working to promote our students to be able to be employed at the crisis center to support that. If you continue through, you'll see that we have listed the courses involved in the Certificate 1, the Advanced Certificate, and the Associate of Applied Science. I'll entertain any questions if you have those.
Are there other community colleges that have this program already in gear?
Not this one. The closest that we found to us would be in Killeen, Texas. They actually have some at-risk and at-risk youth specialization programs. But I think what makes ours very unique is how we were able to work with business partners immediately and providing the service for MHDD. They reached out to us and said, we need a workforce. Can you help us in this? One of the things that I've learned as I've been able to visit with LPCs in the community is there's just a very big shortage of professionals that can serve the mental health field, period. And they are just, everyone we talk to says we need more. We need more of us, but we need more helpers along the way. So ideally, this would be a jump off point for students to enter a career that they may consider moving on eventually and getting a bachelor's or becoming an LPC as high as they'd like to go in their education.
The driving force, what got us started down this pathway was the new mental health hospital coming to, not quite a hospital, but I mean, that's what we'll call it, mental health hospital. And they came to us early on, 2-3 years ago, and said, you know, this is coming to Uvalde. We see a big hole in the workforce. We need people, because not everybody in there is going to be an LPC. Not everybody in there is going to be a psychiatrist or psychologist. But we need people that understand the nuances of working in a mental health facility that we can hire. So that's kind of what led us down this path. And there's been a lot of back and forth as to what are some of those traits and skills that those individuals need to work in this kind of facility. And then, of course, our team has taken that and broadened it to a broader employment opportunity. So the graduates here were not only can work there, but they'll be able to work at the Resiliency Center, at perhaps other offices in assisting to provide mental health services to more patients, more clients than they already do. So is that?
Yes,
fair
no,
enough?
that's correct. And when I've spoken to some of the different facilities, they're looking for support in doing their job. So not for this person to take over being an LPC, but for them to come up with a plan and this person to support training and support students in learning. If it's a behavior modification, if it's a some type of strategy to help them better cope. So they're very eager for support.
You said on this mental health technician, that's a 14 to 16 week course, is that right?
Our first cohort, we started, we're about to graduate them. We're going to have graduation on December 11th.
So we're already doing this.
Yes, we're doing the non-credit side right now. So if you think about, that's the part that makes this really unique. The way we've built this program is to allow the non-credit side to blend very well with the credit side of the house. Ideally, we want to serve our students, but we want to watch them grow. So what we've learned about some of our non-credit students is they're a little nervous about coming back to school, or they're nervous about trying. And so we're hoping that gaining this behavior technician credential will give them that confidence, will give them that boost that they say, you know what? I accomplished this goal. I want to come on to possibly the AAS, or maybe I want the certificate 1. And we want to be able to provide that growth for our population and our students.
How many students do we have now?
12.
12.
Which we're very excited about. We didn't know, launching a brand new program, students like to have a little bit of hearsay about a program, and there wasn't a lot of hearsay. So we're very excited. And what's really neat is there's already people wanting to hire them. We had an advisory committee meeting the other night, and they were going, can we come to graduation? We'd like to talk to your students. Absolutely, come on.
And who is that? Like MHMR and those guys?
Yes. MHMR, MHDD, local LPCs, El Camino de Real out of Eagle Pass, Maverick County Hospital. So this role could be kind of broad. That's what we're hoping, is these students can find work. Maybe it's the intake, right? You're overseeing intake. Maybe it's the support of the LPC, or the support of the facility where you're immediate urgent care, you're helping someone. And so we see this role to be pretty broad.
And who's teaching this course? The one
We have an instructor out of Eagle Pass. So that particular course is a Zoom course. We run it, it's in fact in session right now. We run it 6 to 9, 4 nights a week. And we purposely created it to be by Zoom so that the working individuals would be able to be flexible, and we could carry the course for the first time around the service area. One LPC offering the course to our entire area. So we have students out of Brackettville, Eagle Pass, Uvalde, and Del Rio.
Those are the 12 students, and they're being taught, the professors, the LPC?
Yes, and Eagle Pass.
And what kind of salaries are we looking at on the people that get the certificate and people that get the associate? What kind of?
It seems a little bit high, but we just spoke about this last night at the advisory committee, and they were talking about just the technicians could make up to 40,000, and MHDD said we pay more. So that was a bit of news. I said, wow, that's really exciting. And then if you get your AAS, that just puts you on a trajectory towards growth, right? So I don't know in our area what they will be paid, but that was said as of last night.
And that's just for the 12 to 16 months.
That's what they said, which again, that's a lot of overtime probably involved. That's a lot of, work hours. You're working for your money.
And so statewide, we don't have anything to compare salaries with.
About
on the
40,000.
associate, because this is
40 to 60, depending on where you live in the state. And then again, the work is beyond plentiful. So what I've understood is you can just work as much overtime as you can stand. It's pretty shocking.
Well, I think that this degree is excellent, especially with mental health. It's one of the hardest things in primary care to take care of. I mean, and there's not a lot of people can handle that kind of work. So it takes a special person to do this kind of job. So.
I agree. And we built in 2 field experience courses for that very reason. So they get in through the AAS sequence, and take a fall with us, take a spring with us, and we have a field experience built in so that just in case, you know, we know this is going to be challenging work. We want to make sure the students understand what what field they're going into.
What's our goal enrollment wise for the certificate and associate? Is there two separate?
No, we'll
programs?
start them with one cohort, but
What's our goal on that?
it depends on how our sites. So that clinical experience, it depends on how many sites we can be allowed into. And so I already have letters of support from different agencies. And what we do is we try to build a community of support, right? Upon board approval, if we get the support for the program, and the state allows us to offer the program, we'll go out and really try to make arrangements with different entities. We've talked about they could do their projects, or that field experience could be at hospitals, it could be at LPC offices, it could be at emergency services offices, just that intake process. I'd love to see 15. I think that's ambitious. I don't know how many. It's going to be the field experience, how many places we can get our students in.
Is part of it in the Kerrville also, with the Kerrville?
They actually ask us, could we take some of the students for part of the field experience? And I said, well, we might can. You know, last night that was just brought up for the first time to us, to the facility up there in Kerrville.
And there's some in San Antonio, Clarity, and some of these other programs up there. So I think it's great.
So the process is, of course, board approval, and then, you know, pending board approval, then we'll send it to the Texas Higher Ed Co-Board for their approval, and then we can move forward with it.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that information.
I'll make the motion that we accept the support for the program.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the mental health AAS new program. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No opposition, and motion's carried. Next, we have an item on the agenda to consider an act on purchasing advanced law enforcement rapid response training kits from KDI Solutions and Tertra.
Yes, sir. This is item number 9 in your packet. There's 2 different vendors. They're sole source vendors, and I believe they exceed the 50,000 threshold, so they require board approval, and they are being funded by a, is it Carl Perkins grant?
Carl Perkins.
We'll ask Mr. Wonderwan to walk us through that.
Thank you for letting me speak to you about this. Dr. Gonzalez gave us the opportunity to apply for a grant through the Perkins program. It's called the Field-Based Innovation Program Grant. And we were awarded this in the summer. It was $200,000 for us to address some equipment needs for our Law Enforcement Academy program. So through this grant, we're going to be able to address some needs that we have specifically to target mass casualty scenarios. We're also going to be able to have interagencies coordinate with our law enforcement program and expose our students to mass casualty incidences. Does anybody have any questions with this?
So the first one, the KDL is $92,750, and that is the alert level kits. And then the second one, the Virtra. I'm trying to get to that amount.
So the KDL kits, those are the alert kits. Those are going to be our mass casualty kits. And then the Virtua is actually going to be an awesome virtual reality training that's going to allow for our students to get firsthand exposure to many different scenarios We also I know that the program has mental health scenarios where our hopefully future officers are going to be exposed to possible mental health scenarios.
Yeah, the second one is 76,217.75. It's on the very last page.
Also covered by the grant?
All covered by the grant, yes. ma'am.
All covered by
Thank goodness.
the grant.
Okay, you can do it.
And we don't have anything that we're utilizing at this point that's similar to this at all?
So we are currently having to borrow some of the alert simulation kits, if I'm not mistaken. Johnny, you want to-
So we implemented the Alert Level 1 training back in fall of 2022. And each time that we do one of these trainings, we need to make a request, and upon availability through a grant, Texas State University, they provide us with the kits. We borrow them and send them back, borrow them and send them back each time that we use them. So this would allow us to have our own equipment, not only here, but at our Eagle Pass Academy, so that we can continue offering this training, which has become mandatory for every academy beginning after January 2025.
Oh.
So in addition, due to Senate Bill 1852, all law enforcement officers in the state of Texas are required to go through this training. So it would also allow us to touch on the in-service side for officers that are already in the field.
Are these kits a single-time use? Or
No,
can they be
these are reusable
reused?
kits. These are training weapons. They're training tourniquets. There's a lot of safety equipment. There's simunition guns that actually send out a projectile. So it's everything needed for this hands-on involved training. And we're talking 6 large Pelican cases that get shipped to us that we have to ship back each time.
And it's all covered by this grant. We're not, okay.
Yes, sir. It's also in the budget for approval. So if we don't do it to the grant, I'm still requesting the
So this grant will also, it's also going to make us a leader school when it pertains to mass casualty incidences, because I did write what happened here in Uvalde into the grant. So they're going to want us to present to different colleges what we're doing and how we're shaping our law enforcement academy with this new equipment.
What period of time does this equipment cover? Is it something you can use forever, or is it?
It's something we can use for many years. It just depends on the wear and tear on the actual equipment. Some of the things like the goggles and the face mask may need to be replaced from time to time, but the training weapons, the training tourniquets will last a really long time.
Do you need a motion to?
Yes, sir, please.
You need a motion? Consider an act on purchasing advanced law enforcement rapid response training kits.
I'll move.
Anybody second?
A second.
Motion been made and seconded to purchase the advanced law equipment rapid response training kits. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Next, we have a consider appointment of board members to confer degrees.
Yes, sir. Item number 10, your board packet. So the pecking order for board members to confer degrees. You'll see the page that Ms. Reed provided us there, number 10. It continues on to the back. So it's the board's pleasure on who, depending on who plans on going to the graduation, and then who y'all want to designate to confer the degrees.
planning to go to the graduation at Eagle Pass?
I can go.
You going to go?
I'll go.
I'm more than likely, I'm going also.
I'll probably go.
Okay. I'm going, more than likely.
It's on a Tuesday, right?
You gonna go?
Tuesday evening.
Yeah,
I can make it.
I'm going. Nina?
I'll try. That's all I can. I'd have to jump in with one of y'all.
We're trying to get a bus to take everybody over.
Okay, I'll go.
Everybody's planning to go then.
Okay.
Whoever wants to.
Who's
confer
gonna
degrees,
confer?
Who
You
wants to
wanna
confer degrees this time?
Roy said he wanted to.
Anybody volunteering?
Guess it's
Everybody's
me.
volunteering?
Mr.
You
Munoz will
want,
volunteer.
Mr. Munoz?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. Just need one, right?
Just one.
So we need to appoint
Mhm.
Roy Munoz to confer the degrees.
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
We need a motion. Or you just
Yeah,
accept?
somebody's gotta make a motion.
I so move.
Somebody moved, somebody seconded. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Sounds like.
Oh.
unanimous.
Congratulations.
Agree it, Roy.
Who second?
You did.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
I did?
Yep.
On my notes.
Oh, well, I thought there was the other.
Next on our agenda is to consider an act on
Why did I
resolution
hear
to
you?
cast votes for individuals to serve as directors for the Uvalde County Appraisal District Board.
Yes, sir. This is item number 11. Second page there kind of tells you how many votes each entity has. And then on the third page is the three candidates and the number of votes that you want to allocate. The college is entitled to 156 votes to allocate.
I think there's I'll address that, Dr. Watkins, just, I'm on the UCAD board and stuff, and we have Mr. Rosenberg and Mr. Gonzalez there at this point, and I think both of them are doing very well. So I certainly would like to see them back again. I don't know Mr. McNew, so I don't know who he is, but at this point, from what I understand, that UCISD gave all 500 votes to Mr. Rosenberg. I think some of the other entities divided it equally, but I certainly would like to see Mr. Gonzalez continue there. So my recommendation is that we give all our votes to Mr. Gonzalez to assure that he stays on board.
I guess it's interesting because as an institution, you want someone that's going to generate us more revenue, but as an individual and as a citizen, you want someone that's critical that isn't trying to always jack up the.
That are stewards of our
That's
tax
right.
money.
That's right.
I'll tell you that at this point, just Mr. Reason and Mr. Gonzalez and myself, of course, we look at trying to do our best to make sure the valuations don't go up too high, just because of the fact that, we're in a community where there's minimal income coming in. There's really no new businesses coming in, and the poverty level is still pretty much the same. I mean, our income level is going down. So it's very difficult. We have the record number of people over 65 that are having difficulty in paying their taxes. I mean, it's
Just out of
a record number.
curiosity.
They're frozen.
Just out of curiosity, when Mr. Rissa was here, he said he was here to serve the institution. I'm curious, as a board member, do you see your responsibility to serve the citizenry or to serve the board that you represent?
Citizens.
Okay, there you go. I was just interested because if your goal is to serve the entities that appoint you, then you're wanting to seek higher taxes because that generates more revenue.
Most entities, and I'll tell you this, I mean, for what I see, a lot of the entities have a lot of wasted, unfortunate money. And that's not the way it should be. The entities, and Dr. Gonzalez and his staff have done a great job here, handling the money, handling the budget, making sure that the college is advancing with whatever funding we're getting. Some of the other entities don't do that, and that's what I see. So to me, the valuations need to stay at a pace where it keeps up with our population, and basically the citizens of Uvalde are really overburdened at this point to try.
Yeah, and I agree that board members shouldn't feel pressured
Yeah.
to raise more money for the institutions that put
Mhm.
them in office.
We have record number of protests this past couple of years. We have record number of people over 65 that cannot pay their property taxes. And so that's a reflection of what's going on here. So to me, we need to try and hold our values at a reasonable rate. So, and I think,
Well, I'll second your proposal.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'd like to recommend, yeah,
Do we have
on your
156 votes
recommendation.
each for each, or
Total.
just a total of 156 votes?
Mhm.
So we can proportion them out any way we want to.
Mhm.
And the motion has been made to pass the law on to Is that correct?
That's what I understood.
And second been made?
I seconded that, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Then we're going to cast our 156 votes for Vicente Gonzalez, right? Thank you. So I guess the next item on our agenda is to go into to closed session in accordance with Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.074 to consider employment-related matters. Correct?
145. Okay.
22.
We're excused for the present. You got 7:45?
Yeah.
So
It is now 8:08.
We are back in open session. Is there any further business to conduct?
No, sir.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second? All in favor? Anybody opposed? If you're opposed, you're going to be here by yourself.
The form for the audience to patrons.
I gave it to you. Hey.